Welcome to Lo-Fi Code, where we learn to code in bite-sized pieces. Let's talk today about text content in HTML. You see here we got a side-by-side. We got our text example.html file and our accompanying website. Right now there's nothing in the body, so we got nothing. So first we're going to talk about headings. So headings are kind of what they sound like. There are various levels of headings. So here is an H1, and let's say, top level, and let's copy and paste this a few times. And as you might guess, there are each of different level of headings changes the size, and the browser reads these headings and understands the importance of them. And in that manner, the browser knows when it's like assessing your page for search engine optimization, and it knows which headings are the most important, which ones are of a smaller topic. You should only ever have one H1 tag on your website. So if we save this and refresh the page, we can, of course, they'll say top level, which is silly, but you can see here we have 6 different levels of headings. Like I said, only have one. If you can help it, only one H1 on your page at a time. Second, we are going to talk about the P tag, which is a paragraph. So if we put a bunch of text in here, let's make that a really big P tag, save it, and refresh, we see that it forms a paragraph. And we can even open our inspector here. You can right-click and inspect, or open the console, and you can see. Let's use our picker, and you can see here our P tag has some margins around it, same as our headings here. Headings have more margin than a P, and you can see that it wraps text. And P tags are generally used for the regular text blurbs throughout your and of course we can make this even longer. Save it, refresh, and you can see there's a P tag. And I also want to say that you notice here, I'm scrolling quite a bit side to side. Within a HTML document, or within a text tag in an HTML file, excess white space is ignored. So what we can do is see this P tag, we can hit enter here, and just to keep everything all on the page so we don't have that horizontal scroll, we can come through here and hit new lines in here, and it's not going to affect the content of the paragraph. You won't see line breaks within the P tag. If I save it and refresh, you can see nothing changes in the view, and you can see our P tag and everything is all rendering here in the inspector here. I also wanted to talk about bold and italic, as well as strong and emphasis. So we like to, when we're marking up our text, we like to tell the browser as much information as possible. Not just tell it the content, but tell it the purpose behind our content and what we're trying to convey. So within here, if we add a strong tag, we are telling the browser, hey, we really mean this, right? A strong tag represents strong importance, seriousness, or urgency for its contents. So if we save that, we can see what the browser does with that. It made it bold, right? And that's what Firefox does. That's what Chrome does. I believe that's what Safari does. Additionally, we can change this to an EM. You can see what that looks like. Represents the stress or emphasis of its contents. And the most browsers tend to render that in italics. So here's our hello there rendered in italics. You could come in here and hit a B tag, right? Put a B tag, save it, refresh, telling it explicitly, I want this to be bold. And a lot of developers take that approach where you tell it explicitly what you want it to look like. I will say that when it comes to screen readers and accessibility, it is better to stick with these tags that convey a little bit more meaning. That way a screen reader or someone navigating your website in a non-traditional way might be able to glean more info about what are the most important parts of what you're writing, and strong conveys that better. So if I suggest sticking with strong and EM instead of using those B and I tags. We can also do fun stuff like superscript and subscript. So I think this is subscript, sub. If we hit enter and refresh, we could see there our hello there went to a subscript. So this would be something like, let's take off the first part here, CO, and we can put in a 2, right? Save that, refresh. All right, we have CO2. The 2 is in subscript. We can do the same thing with superscript up. And this would now look a little funny with CO2, but sure enough, we can do exponents and stuff like that. So sub and sup, or sub and sup. We talked about excess white space being ignored, right? There's all these new lines in my document here, right? We can even add blank lines here. Save the page and refresh, and you'll notice that it didn't add any line breaks in our paragraph. So how do we add line breaks? The way that we can accomplish this is with a BR tag. And I think I might need a slash before it. Don't recall. Let's double check. That worked. So a BR tag, actually, I believe the actual correct way to do it is like this, even though that might have worked. Same thing. It worked just as well, but this is the correct way to do it. You are entering a line break here. You're telling it, hey, after this level top right here, let's hit a new line, right? We can also do something called an HR, which is a horizontal rule. Let's save that and see what that looks like. That is a line, just a line going across the page. So you could put it between different to section off your text, or even between divs and stuff like that. Another cool thing we can do is a block quote. And within here, we can, let's drag in some of this text here, put it in our block quote and see what that looks like. We could see that we got an indent. And within a block quote, oftentimes, really within the context of block quoting something, you are quoting something. So you can use this cite attribute to give it your citation, right? So wikipedia.com, right? You might have some specific article, and then if we refresh the page, we may be able to get an indication here. Nope. Let's see. Inspect accessibility properties. Are we not getting it? Let's see. Let's refresh. Well, in any case, you can use the cite attribute to add citations to your block quotes. And similarly, if we use a Q instead of a block quote and refresh the page, you can see we got quotes. So that's another way to get quotes, other than you could also just, put quotes directly in your document as well, right? Notice the quotes are a little bit different here. Let's also talk about abbreviations and acronyms. So let's delete out some of this stuff here. We got a lot of level tops on here. Let's add an abbreviation. So, Professor Dumbledore, right? If we save that, refresh it, we can see Professor Dumbledore is here. And why don't we put a, right? We just learned this, BR. Let's put a break after that. Professor Dumbledore. We can do an abbreviation, ABBR. Let's cut this. And all this stuff is just to mark up text, right? We're adding more meaning, we're adding more formatting and structure to text. We're marking it up with more information. So in the ABBR element represents an abbreviation or acronym, optionally with its expansion. The title attribute may be used to provide an expansion of the abbreviation. The attribute, if specified, must contain an expansion of the abbreviation and nothing else. So if we put in I believe, a title, and we say prof, I might have this totally backwards. So let's take a look here. If we hover over it, we see prof. So we actually would want to do something like this instead, where we move that here. We put professor, we put the full length in the title, the prof in the abbreviation. So the user can see, oh, prof, what is that? Hover over it and see that it is a professor. We can also do a address tag, which could be helpful for potentially Google to, if you had a website for your business, right? And Google was scouring your website for your contact address to put in your Google listing. Could possibly be that a web crawler can see the address tag and know that, oh, this business is located at this specific place, right? So we can put, Cody Potter. Could do another p tag in here, and I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3, 4 fake street, right? Refresh, and this is how Firefox renders a address. We can also do funny stuff like showing how a document changes over time. So within our level top here, if we do a del and we cut that out, we can say, hey, delete this level top and maybe insert this one, right? So you are saying, instead of actually deleting the text, you would come in here and mark it with a del and tag in the thing that you're moving in with ins, which means insertion. If we save and refresh, we can see how it treats del is by putting a strike through it, and the insertion, it underlines it. And that is a whole lot of information about ways to mark up text using HTML5 text tags. I'm sure we'll have more to dive into once we get into the structure of HTML, and we might even come across more text tags to explore. Thank you so much for watching, and happy hacking.